Welcome back to the farm for another project. So one thing we're gonna be talking about today, which all entrepreneurs probably deal with, is how to maximize on your profits. Now I just happened to start making a whole bunch of planter boxes here that kind of seemed like they were a hit. So how can I make a whole bunch more planter boxes with minimal investment for me, but maximum profit? Let's head inside the shop and show you what I'm working with. All right, so these are the planter boxes that I kind of got this all started. They're just a basic 12 by 12 planter box. I just made this out of scrap. But what I did is I just added some gnomes to it. So I designed some gnomes on the CNC machine. So I have this one on a mushroom. I got this guy with a welcome sign. And I designed 3 or 4 other ones. And they weren't perfect because they were just kind of test boxes. But man, they sold within minutes of putting them on Craigslist. So I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and see what I can do to make some more, but I want minimal investment on my end, so as far as just my time to put them together. So I happened to find a whole bunch of pallet wood, and I did find some spools as well. So I'll be able to cut all this down, and I'm hoping to make about 6 to 8 different size planter boxes. We'll make some longer ones. The ones with the spools come out really cool. If you cut the base of them off and then lay them flat down on the ground, and then if you use the insides of the spool, which I don't know if you've ever taken a spool apart, but this wood is already cut into a curve. So you just add this on the outside of the pallet here, so it goes on the outside of the spool and still kind of has that curved look for a planter box, and it seems like people really like those. But for a little extra added something, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put other pallet wood on the outside of these, you know, to cover up the holes. But then I'm going to carve a great big giant gnome into a couple of them, and a couple of them I'm going to leave blank, and I'm going to post them as what do you want carved in the side of it, so I can make something custom. So I kind of figured, well, if other people are charging, you know, premium price for whatever they're building, I'm going to charge the same price, but I'm going to offer the carving at no charge, just to kind of get some of my business out there, and we'll see if it works. The perk to having this CNC machine, which is I'm really hoping to capitalize on this, is while I'm building those planter boxes, I have these leftover cedar pickets. So they're just little pieces of them. I think I have about half a dozen about this size. So I just took those drawings that I made and I shrunk them down to where they actually will fit, so I can put 2 of them on each one of these pieces of a picket. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm actually going to carve these garden gnomes out, and I'm going to carve 1 of each, and then I'm just going to put them on a stake, and then I'm going to put those all on the ground, and then I'll take the picture of those, and then I will add that on my listing showing that I can put them in the ground. So you can have a little carving made, you can put it in the ground on the stake, or I can engrave those bigger and put them on a planter box. Again, trying to do what I can to get my name out there, get my stuff out there, while still selling what's really hot right now, which is planter boxes. Mother's Day's next weekend, and see if I can capitalize on it. So let's get started building, let's get carving some stuff, and let's see if we can make some money. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need to do is we're gonna take these, which is the spool here, we're gonna take this, we're gonna cut off about the bottom 6 inches of both of these, so then that we can sit flat on the ground. And then we're gonna take the pieces from the center of the spool, which allow it to kind of stack since it'll be curved. We're going to screw those all the way around the face, which is going to kind of give us the pocket. And then while we're doing that, the CNC machine over here, we're going to start carving out the gnome. Since I'm going to have that machine going and I'm working over here, enjoy some music, let's get carving. Alright, so sticking with this theme on how we can save money, you know, I went and had to buy a set of, you know, deck screws. So you're talking like 13 bucks for this box. But instead of I'd have almost all these screws for just one box. So what I end up doing is I pre-drill my holes, I put 1 screw in each, and then here's a big box of these decking nails that I got from a yard sale for $1. So I got a whole big stack of these. So that what I do, because I don't want to split any of this wood, is I just pre-drill the guide hole just right next to these screws on both sides. And I did that all the way around. So each one of these boards, since they are going to have, you know, soil and stuff pushing against them. I want to make sure these aren't going to fall apart. I mean, I'm charging customers. I want to make sure they're getting something that's well built. So now I'll put 2 screws or 2 nails on either side of those screws all the way around this box. Now this box is just about finished. I'm going to leave the bottom of them open, but what I end up doing is I run 2 2x4s, one somewhere off to the center off of both sides, and then that'll hold everything down to the bottom as well. And then to cover up these holes in here, I just cut some little tiny pieces of cedar or whatever scrap that I have, and I just put that right on top of it, so then they can just pile all the soil and everything inside. Alright, so here's the first gnome. I just need to come through and do a little touch-up sanding, but this is a little welcome sign guy. Let's do a little touch-up sanding on that, just kind of clean up some of the edges, and we'll install this on the end of the box. Alright, now one thing that comes in handy if you're doing like repeat cuts like this, and I've never had one of these until I got my actual new table saw, but I actually built this little cheap crosscut sled, and this is just maybe 3/4 inch plywood. Took me a couple hours to throw together, and you'd be amazed. I actually use this thing so much. I use this for probably about 80 or 90% of my projects when I'm repeating cuts, just because it makes it so smooth and easy. You just put your block here so you have your alignment lined up, so you can just repeat your cut over and over. So you're going through a stack of something like that, you don't have to sit here and measure each one or mark them. You just drop it right in, cut it, and then since I'm going to be repeating these over 2 different ones, make one cut, set the board aside, slide it down again, make the other cut. Just makes life so much easier. So little recommendation, if you haven't built a crosscut sled, build one of these. They will be a lifesaver when it comes to repeating cuts. Let's get back to work. So there we are. In just a matter of a couple minutes, using that crosscut sled, I was able to break this all down. So now this stack here, these are all 12x12s. So I'll go through and I'll find all the ones that have the least amount of knots, like this one here. And I'll go take 4 of those out, and we're going to carve the gnomes on those. And then the rest of these will be used for the main part of the framing. And then this stuff's going to get all broken down, so I can do the cross members all the way across the bottom. We'll cut this in thin strips. Again, we use a crosscut sled for that as well. And then these are my offcuts. So these ones are anywhere from 10 inches to 8 inches, right around in there. So we're going to try to make a couple of smaller planter boxes with those that don't have any gnomes on them. And hopefully we can have enough of this little pile here to make some little decorative trim on the ones that don't have the carvings. And hopefully we'll get them all to put together. So I'm hoping combined with all these, maybe I can make 4 or 5. And I'm hoping, I don't know, sell them for 20, 30 bucks each. Make a couple extra bucks and get a couple new bits for the CNC. Just about finished with the first box here. Just got to spin this around. And it sounds like the CNC just got done. So let's go take a look at our first gnome. Okay, so just about finished, at least for today. So we got some more boxes we're going to put on here to kind of see how much profit we're going to make. My wife and my daughter kind of gave their own artistic spin to these, and man, I thought my boxes were cool until my wife and my daughter painted them. Now they're really cool. So this is what we got here. So this is a little scene my wife made on this spool. So we got the little welcome gnome coming in. We've got the little green hill behind him. My wife did clouds, and she's got all this in the sky. She's just incredibly talented. Then we just did white on the side of it, so it's all sealed with cedar on the inside. Then over here we've got the pair of 12x12 boxes. So we got this little guy here. He's painting or watering some flowers here. And we got the guy over here sitting on the mushroom. Now these are ones I just got off the machine, so I haven't sanded all the fuzzies off yet. But I'm going to cut these out and put them on a stake so people can actually label their stuff they're growing. So I got jalapeno, onion, and tomato. So those will just be kind of examples, and obviously I'm going to do 3 of these for 20 since that's what I can fit on the machine at once. Or I'm going to just do little cedar squares, but it'll just have the labels, and I'll do 6 of those ones for 20. So we'll see how it goes. I'll have an update video once I have all these sold, because I still do have a little pile of lumber left here. So I'm guessing I'll still be able to make probably 2 more boxes like this, I do have one more huge spool under here that I'm using as a table. But somebody already messaged me that they love the look of this before I even had it painted, and they actually want me to make it for their business going into their farm, and it's going to have a lid that opens up so they can sell eggs on little shelves inside there. So you have to stay tuned for that. So again, I'll have a video once I've done, once everything is sold, give you just a real kind of breakdown of cost, my time that I have into it, paint and everything, and then we'll kind of go from there. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll do what I can to answer them for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to join me for all my other projects and all my other videos, and you want to do the follow-up here, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you around.